The Hare and the Tortoise. Once or twice upon a time, in the land of runny rhyme, lived a hare both hot and heady, and a tortoise slow and steady. When at noon the hare awoke, she would tell herself a joke, squeal with laughter, roll about, eat her eggs and sauerkraut, then pick up the phone and babble,
gibble gabble, gibble gabble,
to her friends the mouse and mole and the empty-headed vole.
Hey, girls, did you know the rat was rejected by the bat? Good for her, the rat's a fool. I think he's kind of cool. Too bad, darling, now he's dating Lady Lemming's maid-in-waiting. What? That hamster, you don't say.
Gibble-gabble every day, gibble-gabble everywhere went the mouse and mole and hare. Gibble-gabble, gibble-gabble, oh, what riff-raff, oh, what rabble. But the tortoise, when he rose, daily counted all his toes twice or 3 times to ensure there were neither less nor more. Next he tallied the amount in his savings bank account. Then he'd very carefully count his grandsons, 1, 2, 3, Ed and Ned and Fred by name, and his sermon was the same.
Eddie, Neddy, Freddy, boys, you must never break your toys. You must often floss your gums. You must always do your sums. Buy your own house, don't pay rent. Save your funds at 6%. Major in accountancy and grow up to be like me. Listen, Eddie, Neddy, Freddy, you be slow, but you be steady.
One day, by the fauna fountain, near the noble mammal mountain, where the ducks and ducklings dabble, hare and mouse went,
gibble gabble, gibble gabble, look who's coming.
And the hare began a humming, and the mouse began a giggling.
Well, it isn't Samuel Pigling, that's for sure, or Peter Rabbit, or Sir Fox in hunting habit. Even Hedgehog Roly-Poly wouldn't ever walk so slowly. Inch by inch he's crawling. How pathetic. How appalling. He won't get here in an hour if he uses turtle power. Teddy Tortoise, go and grab tram or train or taxicab.
Squealed the hare.
I have no doubt you can shell the money out.
And at this disgraceful pun, hare and mouse both squealed with fun, ran around the tortoise twice, fell into the fountain thrice, swam and sang out as they swam.
I'm a tortoise, yes I am, see me swimming, glug, glug, glug. I'm a tortoise, no, a slug.
Now the tortoise snapped the air and addressed the hare-brained hare.
Madam, you are rash and young, and should mind your mindless tongue. Doubtless, madam, hares exceed tortoises by far in speed. But were we to run a race, I, not you, would win first place. Slowly, surely I'd defeat you. Trust me, madam, I would beat you.
Darling tortoise,
Drawled the hare.
I would thrash you anywhere, marsh or mountain, hill or dale, field or forest, rain or hail.
Snapped the tortoise slow and steady.
Choose your place and I'll be ready. Choose your time and make it soon.
Here,
The hare said.
Sunday, noon.
So, at the appointed time, all the beasts of runny rhyme, every reptile, bird or mammal, from the koala to the camel, gathered to behold the race, bet on first and second place, gobbled popcorn, guzzled beer, and exclaimed,
They're here!
They're here.
At the starting block the steady tortoise flexed his toes, quite ready, but the flighty hare, still wearing her silk nightie, kept on staring at a mirror, while the press took her words down, more or less. Young reporters sought her views for the rhyme and runny news.
What's at stake besides the honour?
Is the tortoise, ma'am, a goner?
Why did you agree to run?
Is the race already won?
Pouting out her scarlet lips, sweetly wiggling head and hips, making wolves feel weak inside. Languidly, Miss Hare replied,
Teddy Tortoise, don't you see, has this awful crush on me. Why, he thinks I'm simply stunning. That's why, darlings, I am running, and I've staked the cup I won when I was Miss Honeybun. Who will win? Why, can't you tell? Read the lipstick on his shell.
There she'd smeared a scarlet too, and the words mock turtle stew. Soon the starting gun was heard, and a secretary bird gently murmured,
"It's begun. Ma'am, perhaps you ought to run."
No!
The Hare laughed.
Oh, no. Teddy Tortoise is so slow. Let him have a little start. I don't want to break his heart.
But the tortoise plodded on like a small automaton, muttering as he held his pace.
I have got to win this race.
2 hours passed. In satin shorts, cut for fashion more than sports, Miss Hare once again appeared, yawning softly as she neared.
2 o'clock, my beauty sleep.
Ma'am, the race.
The race will keep, really. It's already won.
And she stretched out in the sun. 2 hours passed. The Hare awoke, and she stretched and yawned and spoke.
Where's the tortoise?
Out of sight.
Oh,
The Hare said,
really? Right. Time to go.
and off she bounded, leaving all her friends astounded at her rocket-fueled pace.
Sure,
They said
she'll win this race.
she was out of sight already on the heels of Tortoise Teddy. Suddenly the dizzy Hare saw a field of mushrooms where champignon and chanterelle mixed with devils of the dell. This last mushroom, I suspect, has a cerebral effect. Every time I eat one, I feel I'm floating in the sky,
How delicious. What a treat.
said the Hare.
I'll stop and eat.
So she did, and very soon she was singing out of tune, and she lurched towards the wood, shouting to the neighbourhood.
Boring, boring, life is boring. Birdies help me go exploring. Let's go off the beaten track. In a minute I'll be back.
Off the Hare went fancy-free. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 3. But the tortoise plodded on. Now the day was almost gone, and the sun was sinking low, very steady, very slow. And he saw the finish line, and he thought,
The race is mine.
and the gold cup was in sight, glinting in the golden light, when with an impassioned air someone screamed,
Look, look, the hare!
and the punter started jumping, and the tortoise heard a thumping close behind him on the track, and he wanted to look back, for the Hare was roused at last, and was gaining on him fast, and had almost caught him up, and retrieved her golden cup, when the tortoise, mouth agape, crossed the line, and bit the tape. After the announcer's gun had pronounced that he had won, and the cheering of the crowd died at last, the tortoise bowed, clasped the cup with quiet pride, and sat down self-satisfied. And he thought,
That silly Hare, so much for her charm and flair, so much for her idle boast. In her cup I'll raise a toast to hard work and regularity. Silly creature, such vulgarity. Now she'll learn that sure and slow is the only way to go, that you can't rise to the top with a skip, a jump, a hop, that you've got to hatch your eggs, that you've got to count your legs, that you've got to do your duty, not depend on verve and beauty. When the press comes, I shall say that she's been shell-shocked today. What a well-deserved disgrace that the fool has lost this race.
but it was in fact the Hare, with a calm, insouciant air, like an unrepentant bounder who allured the pressmen round her.
Oh, Miss Hare, you're so appealing when you're sweating.
Said one, squealing.
You have tended golden booty to the shrine of sleep and beauty.
Breathed another, overawed. And Will Wolf, the great press lord, filled a gold cup on a whim with huge rubies to the brim. Gorgeous rubies, bold and bright, red as cherries, rich with light, and with an inviting grin murmured,
In my eyes you win.
And perhaps she had. The Hare suddenly was everywhere. Stories of her quotes and capers made front page in all the papers, and the sleepy BBC, beastly broadcast company, beamed a feature with the news.
All the world lost for a snooze.
Soon she saw her name in lights, sold a book and movie rights, while a travel magazine bought the story sight unseen of her 3-hour expedition to the wood, called Mushroom Mission. Soon the cash came pouring in, and to save it was a sin. So she bought a manor house where she lived with mole and mouse. And her friends, when they played Scrabble,
Gibble gabble, gibble gabble.
gibble-gabble all the way, let her spell compete with K. Thus the Hare was pampered rotten, and the Tortoise was forgotten.